On days like today, it's very easy to get caught up in emotion and the S&P's down 100 points and triple Qs, everything. The world falling apart. But is it really? Is this just another rotation that we see in these markets on a consistent basis, selling this, buying this, selling bit all over the place? We're going to show you some green stocks today, folks, and you're going to be a little bit surprised. So is it a great rotation or the beginning of the end? Maybe for some stocks. Todd Gordon joins us at 8:35. Give us his broad fundamental and technical perspective on the markets. We got a lot to cover. We're going to even cover SpaceX undercutting that first day low. It's a jam-packed show here on Pre-Market Prop. Let's get it started.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
Okay, good morning, team. These charts brought to you by TradeStation, Born to Trade. Chart, analyze, customize, all in one platform. Trade smarter, move faster, stay in control with the platform built for serious traders. Folks, we're off the lows of the session. A little bit of selling over there in Korea, and that kind of spilled into our market, but there were some little cracks yesterday as well. We're down 88 handles, but 30 handles off that low of the day. The buck strong here, now over 101, riding a 4-day winning streak, 101.01. That's up 22 cents. TLT quiet up 6 cents. USO in the red again, down 72 cents, trying to put some lows in. Above 110, GLD and SLV both in the red. SLV taking the hit, down almost 4.5%. That's at 56.28. That's down 263. GLD down 1.5%. That's almost $6 at 382.72. And you know what? Bitcoin here, well, we're hanging. We're hanging above that support. Let's see if that 60K could hold. We're down $2,085 in the futures. It's 62,365. Triple D, eyes wide open. You saw some just mind-boggling price action in the after hours with the Brentster. And I'm known for calling tops, and I'm known for getting carried away, but Triple D is always calm, cool, and collected. But that action yesterday, after hours in Micron, that has you scratching your head. Let me get the after hours chart up here.
Not scratching the head felt different last night for Micron. Not calling a market top here. I don't think the market is what we're talking about. We're talking about these crazy moves. And obviously, it's been like a dozen stocks. Micron, SanDisk, AMD, which I'm still long. Qualcomm, which I'm still long, is another one too. ARM Holdings, crazy moves. I mean, stocks have gone up 200, 300, 400% in the last few months. Just enormous moves. You go with Western Digital, WDC, you go Seagate. Seagate's not as pronounced, but still pretty substantial, $400 to $1,100. The semis, SMH, which is covering it. Not NVIDIA though. 350 to 650. The semis have doubled in 2 months. NVIDIA not really participating in any of that time. It's been a change of leadership. NVIDIA was the leader for years. NVIDIA the leader. And, that leadership has changed. The memory names, obviously, with Micron and SanDisk have been the new leaders. Brentster, come in here because you were covering all this live with me last night.
Yes.
And we were talking with this Micron buyer after hours. And it was absolutely relentless. It just kept coming in and buying more and buying more and buying more. This was between 4 and 5 o'clock. So it ramped up. We're just talking Micron action up another 100 points yesterday or whatever it was, because this is what it does. Just goes up every day, right? So, it ramped up into the close. But after the close, 12.11, it kept ramping up to 12.20, 12.30. 1240, and these buyers were huge. The S&Ps were actually trading in the red. The S&Ps weren't going up. SanDisk was not going up. Western Digital was not going up. ARM Holdings was not going up. AMD was down. This was the only stock still going up. I'm like, what is going on with Micron? I'm like, it's up 35 points more. And it's the only one going. And it's like one buyer just kept coming in. You'd see him flash 50,000 shares, then 100,000 shares. Buy them, buy them, buy them. And I'm like, this is like relentless buying. I don't know if it's upgraded. We never did find a piece of news. And I'm looking at it, and last night, starts dawning on you. Was that a forced buy-in? Was that actually somebody that was maybe short? And the broker says, that's it. You're done. It's over. We're coming. We're just buying up your stock. Because, the way forced buy-ins work, at least at Interactive Brokers, is they give you a message 10 minutes before the close. It says, look, you've got to buy this in. Sometimes it's they can't locate a stock. It could be a margin issue. It could be for whatever reason. A forced buy-in is your brokerage actually goes into your account and says, we're taking over your position. It's over. So that happens. Normally, like you see those often when they can't locate a stock. You're short a stock. They can't locate it, so they have to stay in compliance. So they will give you a 10-minute warning. You don't buy it, we go in and buy it for you. Now, I don't know if the Micron, the locate wouldn't be the issue. So, because somebody had been massively short, some fund massively short and just being forced to buy in it last night, maybe. It really felt, though, like it was forced buying. Or somebody was just like panicking fully and said, I can't take it anymore. I'm getting hurt here. It didn't feel like somebody entering a position, though. It felt like some short, like capitulating out. It felt like capitulation, upside capitulation. You think what Micron has done, and you're like, this is dumb and it's overdone. You could be totally like that. So you could see how there could be the odd fund that could be short this thing and in a whole world of pain. So they must have bought, Joel, and you were trying to add it up between 12.35 and 12.45 last night. How many shares do you think they bought?
I mean, the media bracket that you were talking about, that bracket, there was almost a 500,000 right there.
500,000 shares.
Yep.
So let's call it 500,000 shares. And how do you know it's the same buy? How do you know it wasn't just a bunch of people? Because you can see the size. Like, boom, somebody steps up, with boom, 100,000. They get done. Boom, buy me another 100,000. They get done. We were live in the STN think tank. We're talking about this, and like somebody wants in this thing bad, or somebody needs to get in to be buying this thing, and it could have been a short. So anyways, 12.45 I think it got up to, and then the buying was done, and I'm like, it's gone. And then it starts leaking, and you think like, is it over? Are they coming back for more? I'm like, no. Starts leaking a little bit, leaking a little bit, leaking a little bit, leaking, like not totally, but then overnight trade, then everything starts leaking. Obviously we know there's the big move. Todd Gordon's going to be on here. We love you, Todd, on here in about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes to talk South Korea. We had a lot of international stocks really get hit last night, but really, this move in this bubble, you could call it in memory names, these stocks are getting hit the hardest today. So that person who bought maybe between 300 and 500,000 shares last night, we don't know if they were buying earlier too. It's just when we notice them, we're talking about one bracket. But let's just say hypothetically, they bought 500,000 shares last night at 12.40, 12.45. They're down over 100 points. It's $50 million screw up. $50 million is what they'd be down on that purchase. Oof. Yeah, somebody got hurt last night really bad buying that Micron up at 12.40, 12.45. And the reason we named the show Upside Capitulation is that, about 20 minutes later, you're like, I'm thinking to myself, this is what happens at tops. This is what happens, when you have these forced buy-ins. They almost always get the top. And then, we had JV in the think tanks saying, did we just see the top? And JV took a short. Congrats, JV. We had, another friend of mine message me independently, didn't even know any, like independent, another trader friend at a prop shop. And he says, did we just see the top at Micron? I was like, these prop traders, people who can call tops are the people who are the prop traders. Like, they're good at seeing this stuff. They're good at turns. These aren't retail traders, folks. These are traders that have been doing this for a living, thousands and millions of trades, over the career of a lifetime. It felt like that to me too on Micron. It felt to me like a top on Micron last night. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the top for the year, but I just know stocks don't go from $300 to $1,245 in a straight line. So, closing at the highs, we just can't just buy Micron. It's been too easy for the longs here now and really painful for the shorts. So I think you saw short-term upside capitulation here in Micron. Probably the same going to be with SanDisk, ARM Holdings, AMD. They're all the same cup of tea. They're all getting hammered here this morning. So if you're coming in here and say, I just buy the dip on Micron, just comes back, It probably will get bought in the first 20 minutes because these people will come in here and they say, I got to get in here. It's that next 15 minutes is their follow through. So the setup will be, and we'll be trading this live in the SDN think tank, is you'll probably see some dip buyers. You're already seeing it a little bit coming here right now. You see it into the open, you know, oh yeah, we just buy the dip on Micron and we make money. One of these times is not going to work though. I think that time could be today.
Can I bring up another instance that we've had in the last week that I think is fitting the bill of what you're describing, Dennis?
Please.
And Joel already knows where I'm going. Marvell.
Yeah.
Why was the price action around the S&P 500 edition so significant in the context of what we're talking about with Micron here last night and into today?
Because you get forced buying again. Forced buying from the indexers, moving up ahead of it, you know, forced buying that they have to track the S&Ps. We saw with Tesla. Remember when it was added, Joel? That was the very top in Tesla at the time. And then it went down 40%, like shortly after that. And then, you know, eventually Tesla started going up. And, you know, it was back when Tesla was like $650 or something. It's had some splits and stuff since then too. But, you know, so I don't know what the equivalent is, but it took some time. But, you know, Marvell, same story. You had the S&P ad. We knew Thursday night was when they're going to be buying it, and they want to track it to have the end of the index on Monday. So we knew there's going to be a big buy, you know, like buyers on the close, index buyers. What happens at 350? We talked about this yesterday. It doesn't post a buy imbalance. It posts a huge sell imbalance because there were so many anticipatory traders who were banking that these indexers have to buy. So I'm going to buy because you know it's going higher. And the stock fell 20 points. So all those short-term anticipatory traders caught on the wrong side. Now you're in a Marvell and you're down 20 points in like 2 minutes here. You're like, probably maybe some of these traders are like, well, you know what? It's Marvell. It'll come back. I'll get my money back. You start hoping like that, then you're on the wrong side of the trade. What happens yesterday? Micron up 100 points. SanDisk up 100 points. Marvell, not a sniff. Couldn't go up yesterday. You got traders who are caught here that are selling into the rallies. What happens when we start moving down? Bring up Marvell this morning, down 26 points. Same trader that was talking about Micron messaged me and said Marvell might be a short here. And I'm like, I think you're right. 307, 305, 303, 301. Now it's 282 here this morning. So just understanding the market mechanics, like understanding, you know, what's behind the scenes, understanding when you have forced buyers, it's usually at a top. Forced buyers in Marvell on Thursday night, which would have been your indexers, the anticipatory traders getting caught. And then obviously, you know, the Micron forced buyer last night. I'm like, when you start seeing forced buying on stocks, this is often a signal that, you know, stay away maybe for the short term. Is it going to be the all-time high in Marvell? Is it going to be the all-time high in Micron? Nobody knows that. Somebody says they know that, and they don't know that. But short-term tops can be called here. I feel like, you know, it's after the fact, Jack, a little bit. I mean, the stock just fell 100 points. But we were talking about this in the think tank last night a bit, too. I was saying, I'm scared on these stocks. I'm not buying the dip on these stocks. So, you know, now you have in and they're down
one other factor, too, is someone was, you know, whether it was a forced buy-in or not, they're like, oh, earnings are coming out in Micron. I can't, you know, I can't take it. I just can't, you know, earnings are going to beat.
That, too.
They're going to announce a stock split, you know, and I'm dead. I just, you know, I just gotta get out of there. Also, just going back to, you mentioned, you know, JV and the reason they know is because they've been on the other side of these things too.
Oh yeah,
they've known when they've gotten tagged. They know that feeling in their stomach when they've been on the other side of the trade.
Leaves a mark.
You know, in the market gods, you know, punish them. They learn from the punishment. They learn from the mistakes that they made, and that's our thing to do. But what I prefaced in my intro, not everything's going down, right?
No.
Moving around. Money is moving around.
Well, and look what's happened with the staples here of recent. It has been so much strength in Micron and in SanDisk and in all these names. We've talked about the Mag 7 not participating. NVIDIA hasn't had a sniff. Amazon, Google going down yesterday, you know, like pretty hard yesterday. But look at a stock like Kroger. Nobody's going to talk about Kroger. Nobody. Maybe CNBC will talk Kroger now that we talked it. But I mean, the stock is down $10 in 3 days. I mean, you've got Kroger, like McDonald's, free fall McDonald's here. just going down because, hell, we're not going in Kroger for dividends. We're not going to McDonald's. We're making 10% a day in Micron. So you're seeing just panic selling everything else. Like XLP getting hammered there too. You were saying XLU. XLU's held up because it's got the energy. Obviously, the nuclear, some of these stocks got that. So it's a little bit tied into the AI trade. So, you can't look at that as much. But there's been a lot of other stocks here, like the staples, have just been relentlessly punished here. Like Netflix too, which is a staple. I've been saying it's a staple now too. Software, it gets disrupted. There's a lot of reasons for that, but that's been getting hammered there too. This has not been the bull market where everything has been flying up. This last week, not the whole thing. It's been a lot of different stocks. XBI is at the highs. But really in the last week, in technology itself, it's been those names carrying us because Apple, not participating really at all, just kind of hanging out here. Amazon, not participating at all, in fact, going down. Google, hammered yesterday, not participating and in fact going down. Stocks that are down over the course of the last month and a half. I mean, here's the Qs in the last month and a half up substantially. Here's, these memory names up substantially. Mag 7, not participating, not even interested. So it's been so strong with Micron that they've made up the slack here. But, Microsoft, we know, has been a disaster with the software in there. But even NVIDIA, here's the AI rally of AI rallies. The SMH just going nuts over the course of the last couple months. NVIDIA is in the same spot it was 2 months ago.
It does
203, 201. Yep. This is back when we were, back in April. 2 months ago exactly, we were at the same price. NVIDIA has not participated at all. So this has been, other stocks carrying us, this new leadership here. Is it a problem when the big guns aren't participating here? Maybe. Maybe it's an overall problem. Maybe there's some signs of, like buyer exhaustion here. But there's a lot of, things to be worried about all of a sudden. And it's not the war, folks. The war ended. People are like, oh, now we're really going to go. The war is going. No, because the stock market never cared about the war. It's half AI. AI didn't care about the war to begin with. If you were shorting stocks because the war was on, you got handed to you. Now, if you're buying stocks because the war is over, you're getting it handed to you again. Pay attention to what's going on. It's been AI driving the bus here for a long time now. AI continues to drive the bus. Maybe it's going to start driving it lower. I hope it doesn't drive it off the cliff.
A couple things here. Number one, I mean, we had to break a couple weeks ago, and we came back up. Some indexes made a new all-time high. We were looking to the Fed. We were looking for like a catalyst there. We didn't get what we wanted, and the war ended, and we was like, well, what is the next thing to just blast us off higher? What? And it kind of felt like the war speech, people were kind of looking for an excuse to take some chips off the table. And they got it. But then you get the snapback rally that was very quickly. So do we change? Are we like strong dip buyers? Like this is like, oh, this is down 100 handles. Oh, Sandis. Are we blindly buying the dip like we did or attempted? Some of us did over the last couple of weeks, or is it complexion? Do we gotta shift modes? Do we have to look at different stocks and maybe let the dust settle in some of these high flyers?
I think you got to let the dust settle here. Sandus on 196 points here. I mean, like after the fact, Jack, you can look at these things now and say, well, this is like, needed. And this is a necessary pullback. Is this just another one like we had in June, when they fell, Micron fell $100 in about, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. People are like, what's going on? Maybe they come back in and buy the dip here again, but it just kind of felt different last night. It kind of felt more forced in with Marvell. Like all the ducks are in a row for the short-term summertime top to be in here. Like these stocks, maybe, the demand's just going to be so high that fundamentals are going to trump. But maybe Micron comes out with earnings Wednesday night and it's a blowout of blowouts and, the stock goes up 500 points because maybe, but I don't think so. I think you got a few people caught. And I think on Micron, even if they blow it away here now, I think the stock pops up. There's going to be a few people, maybe some happy sellers to come in here. So, it just felt different, and that's okay. Things feel different sometimes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, pre-market prep audience, that conversation is why you are here. Where else are you going to hear this kind of conversation at 8:15 in the morning? Hit the like for Joel and Dennis's awesome rant there. Was that a rant? Is that safe to say that was a rant?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and a lot of times it's like people look at a technical chart and they're going to say, well, this is what the chart looks like. This is this. We weren't looking at a chart. The chart looked awesome last night. You're looking at order
That's a
flow
great
and you're
point.
looking at
Order
using
flow,
common
yep.
sense. There's some
Yep.
common sense in trading here.
Well,
You know, when you have forced indexer buyers, you know, technicals don't show the forced index, you know, they show on a chart and tell you why. Sometimes that's the thing that technicals miss the most is the why behind the scenes. Okay.
Something else that was exciting last night was the quantum story, just
For sure.
also on fire. Maybe led by IBM, maybe not. We don't know. Last night, Trump signing an executive order. He had a bunch of cabinet members and a couple members of the industry. Quantum computing and cybersecurity executive order was signed last night. The IBM CEO was off to Trump's left. And right next to him was one of the Google product heads also related to quantum. So we had IBM rallying. We had a bunch of the other quantum names rallying, like an INFQ also is getting some attention. IONQ, QBTS, RGTI, just to name a few. And don't forget the QNT, Honeywell's Quantinium, the quantum spinoff.
Yeah, big moves here last night in quantum. We were talking, Ed was all over this too in the chat. I mean, when you see the CEO and the think tank is just killing it there, man. The chat there, like, why do we have this? You know, like you get great minds thinking alike. And they're like, well, this IBM CEO standing up there with Trump. So IBM starts running at the close. And then, you know, the CEO gets up there and starts talking after hours along with Trump. And IBM pops 13 points, you know, and then you see all the quantum names start going, and they're signing this, you know, whatever the hell they signed. What was it called? This quantum computing. What was the document they were signing?
Like an executive order.
Executive order in quantum stocks. So they're all popping here, and they're not participating in the downside move. And why should they? Why should IBM be selling off with Micron? No, it's been the one that's been killed because of Micron. So if you actually look at IBM, it's at its highest of the session. So this is not an everything rally,
No,
folks.
it's
This is not a like, oh my gosh, Katie barred the door, the market is crashing. No, this is like taking the froth out of the stuff that was really frothy. And actually, you're seeing buyers come in on the stocks that were really dippy. So, you know, IBM, you can see lots of green on the screen here. RSP holding up fairly well. That's the S&P 500, same companies balanced out, down 0.46%. Whoop-de-doo-da-day. Not even that bad there. But IBM up 13 points here. Well, it helps, you know, like one, you know, you got the obviously Trump, that's the biggest catalyst of them all. But two is, you know, the beaten down software names are the ones that are rallying. IGV is up today. Whoa, what's up? IGV is green. You know why? Because we've been telling you what the inverse correlation charts don't tell you that. The inverse correlation between hardware and software. Well, hardware is having a terrible morning. Natural thought process is maybe software is going to be okay. CRM goes down every bloody day. Every day. Every day. Well, you know what? On the day that hardware is getting hammered, maybe CRM's going to have a day. Well, it's up 1.2%. Don't tell me I don't give you trading ideas here. Giving them to you right now. This could be a software type of morning here. ServiceNow, been just crushed. Maybe it's going to have itself a day. It's down. It's up 1.6% here already. Poor Mr. Softy, you know, been just hammered, up 1.3%, because it's not about charts, it's about rotation. And the rotation here, folks, is from hardware to software already starting to show up here at 8:23 in the morning. Now, if they come in and start buying the Micron, you know, like relentlessly to start selling these stocks off too. Just understand, your long Microsoft is kind of like being short Micron. That's kind of what it's been. I don't know if that's going to last forever, but that's kind of what it is right now.
Oh boy, just a lot to cover there. I just want to go to like the overall market here, and we're trying to rally here, and we just keep flopping. Right, it's still feeling kind of heavy out there. Just from the perspective of, you know, you did have a Trump truth a little bit ago, and got a little
Micron
pop
just dropped
there.
another $10.
Yeah, and then it just so you know, well, obviously we'll be following you know, the opens here closely in the STN room. We covered a lot of these quantum stocks. Just want to go through the charts real quick, and you know, just keep an eye on your pre-market highs for these. I mean, these stock. I mean, look what IBM has made these monthly moves. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. From under 220 to 330, and they round trip it almost all the way back. So even though you're seeing IBM about $14 today, you think that's an oversized move. I mean, it was 330 just a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah.
what
Oversold.
yeah.
There's your quantum list. Brentster's got your whole quantum list there. So if you just go quickly through, we don't have to look at all the charts, but IONQ has given it back. I mean, it's a pretty heavy market, so you're seeing some of these give it back. They were up substantially last night. QBTS is up a little bit here. RGTI, it's great news, bad tape for them. I mean, you got this risk off thing happening here. You have the Qs down 2.84%. Pretty tough day for Quantum to rally. IBM not so much because it's more software, but Quantum is not like Quantum is just not, been hit like that, like the IGV is. It's just kind of a lot of these names have just been kind of holding on here. So there's not like this, beaten down. I'm trying to bring up the IONQ chart just to show you there, maybe talk about this. I mean, this hasn't been beaten down like some of these other names. So, it's going to be susceptible to a market sell-off. It's about that too. So IONQ, yeah, good news, but, the tape for today is just not that
tough
great.
Tough tape.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talk about IPOs, and we know our IPO lessons, right? And the IPO lessons are that 80, maybe more percent of stocks undercut their opening day low. Well, not exactly the pattern you were thinking when the thing blasted from 150 to 226. And I can remember that day when it pulled back, when it hit that 226 area, and Dennis was said, well, it's in a bear market. Well, we have come down in the pre-market trading. We did undercut that that first day low. We did get to 147.04. Had a little bit of a rally, right? We had did we have a launch, no launch? What was that, Bradster? I know you were digging on the SPCX.
Yeah, they did launch today. They launched Starfall. It was a demo mission. The launch window was, I think, at 6:43 a.m. for about an hour today. And as far as I can tell, they launched it right away a few minutes before the launch window. Wait a sec. How would this make sense? I was going to say that they posted a video of the launch before the launch window, but that wouldn't make sense. Anyway, SpaceX here posting, if you guys want to take a gander at it real quick, I actually have it in the background on SpaceX's X account.
Sure.
Here was the launch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
They have these launches all the time, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff. Go Falcon and go Starfall.
And we saw a little rally in SpaceX. The reason we're showing this, a little rally in SpaceX about an hour ago. So, off of this, looks like successful launch here once again.
Yes.
Here it sounds like stock traded from 150 all the way up to like 158 if you show the chart here, Joel.
Yeah.
We've come back down here though now. Actually went higher than that, Joel, just a few minutes ago there. If you bring, I don't know.
Yeah, we bumped up to 58.88, 158.88.
Giving it back. I would say, Joel, 10-star level 149.34. That's the all-time low. I know we cut through there in the pre-market. Pre-market doesn't count as much as regular session. I think you find support there 149 to 150. This stock is not, one of those that have, it's been had a really rough 3-4 days here. So it's probably almost oversold at this point in time. So I actually like the SpaceX, the 150 area, for a trade. I don't know if I'm investing in it at this point, still 100 times sales or whatever the hell it is. But, I've argued that it could grow in that valuation. I think it could eventually, but I don't think, maybe 150 is the time. Maybe it's going to be the all-time low here. I think as a trade, though, I kind of like the 150 area.
And, I know we traded up to 58.88, but see if you can go green and stay green. I mean, that was was that the old-time closing low yesterday? Yeah, that old-time closing low yesterday, 154.60. Just one thing too that I'm noticing in the SpaceX is the volume is starting to come back down to earth. Crazy on the first day, $500 million, and then it slumped off the next two up days, and then just you need buyers when these things get going. You want buyers, more buyers coming in, and then you had some profit taking. But you have a good level, that 149.34, the low on that day, the 150 area. Down in the pre-market, that 4 a.m. open. Wow, someone slapped it down to 146.89. So keeping an eye on SpaceX. We are checking for our 8:30 news. We see Mr. Gordon there, and if he can give us the thumbs up, yep, we are ready to go with Todd Gordon. Mr. Todd Gordon, Inside Edge Capital LLC. What a day to have you on.
Yeah, no kidding. Good morning, guys. How are you?
Is the top end? Is it over? Is it done forever and ever? Never going up. Micron's never going to see 1245 ever again.
Wait till I show you some of the EPS and sales. You know what the company's done compared to like last quarter or the year before, and then in coming years. Like it's unbelievable the money this company's making.
Okay, we got to see this. So we're not trying to call the all-time highs, but
no, I mean, all right, let me jump in.
I gotta see Todd's research. By the way, Todd Gordon, awesome. You've been coming on this show for a decade here. I mean, we love you. Your analysis is always top notch here. I got to see what you got to say about Micron here, because the earnings are going to blow you away. Like, I know Brentster, I think it was last quarter, the quarter before, and we were looking at the numbers, and Brentster was giving the number. He's like, wait a second. This is the quarterly numbers. He's like, the numbers were so high, we were confusing the annual estimates with the quarterly estimates because the numbers were so high.
It's like ridiculous.
They made more money in this quarter than they did all last year.
And like, there's so much I want to talk to you guys about. Like I had this presentation I've been trying to do for like a week, and every day it's changing because there's so much going on. But it's like, this is a kind of an aside, but an interesting aside. Like there's this whole, from a technical point of view, looking at like the value ETFs compared to the growth ETFs, Vanguard being the flagship. I'm looking at the ratios, doing some technicals, figure out where the market's preference is. And we're starting to see some value ETFs start to, gain some ground on the growth ETFs. So like, oh, wow, rates up, inflation coming, maybe we need to rotate out of growth. Dude, it's the value memories. It's the memory stocks that are pushing the value ETFs, including Micron forward, skewing the whole assessment. Like, if it makes any sense, like the point is the forward valuation on Micron and WGC, like they're still classified as value stocks.
Yeah, because the stock prices can't keep up with the earnings growth.
It's crazy. So let me see. Do you mind if I share screen, guys?
No, please.
Okay. Entire screen monitor. Joel, did I tell you and Dennis, like I'm not a trader anymore. I'm down to 2 monitors and whatever. That's a
simplistic. I like it.
There's a lot
I went
of
from 6 to 3 like 10 years ago. I had 6, and I'm always looking up over here and up over here and up over here. I went simplistic here too, and I brought it just down to 3. I don't like looking up. Don't look up. Like, you have the monitors way up there. It hurts your eyes. It hurts your neck. It hurts everything. I look straight across 1, 2, 3. It makes life so much easier.
I got 2 34s, like whatever. Like
perfect.
Hardware porn is over. We're older. We're investors. We're all right. So let's see. Is that up?
Yeah, we're adding it right now.
All right. Okay. So, for the coming quarter, is that too small? That text, is that?
I made it bigger on my screen. You can click the corner and you make it. There you go. We'll make it as big as we can.
Okay. So for 2Q of fiscal year 26, we're looking for 35 billion in sales. The same quarter last year was 9 billion. That's a 279% growth in top line.
Wow.
EPS. This is maybe what you were looking at. I'm like,
yeah.
$1.91 adjusted EPS, $1.68 gap in 2Q of 25, comping to $20.28 for a 962% growth.
Yeah, that's crazy.
GAAP EPS is expected to be 1,142% growth.
Wow.
I mean, and then you go up. This is kind of a cool way they put this. Fiscal year 25 EPS $8, 26, $61, 27, $121. And then here's the kicker with the memory thing is like forever we've been watching, DRAM being so cyclical and Micron was such a cyclical stock. Now it's like, it's one of the key choke points in the 4 components of the AI build out, and their forward orders, their log is so built out, and they're like, the stock is still considered value because they're looking for the cyclical nature of memory to be played out. I mean, what if it is not cyclical, and what if systemic's the wrong word, maybe structural? I mean, I don't know, but the numbers are just absolutely insane.
Mind-boggling growth. Now, but what happens in 2028? Now, obviously, they're not predicting that memory prices are going to go up forever. So that growth is going to slow to a crawl here at some point in time. At some point in time, RAM prices aren't just going to continue to go up. So, I mean, obviously, this is benefited. This isn't from like company changing what they're doing. This is a commodity stock that has benefited from the underlying commodity being memory prices just exploding higher. So, I mean, eventually the explosion higher in memory prices doesn't continue in perpetuity, or maybe it does.
Well, I think
never be able to afford anything.
I mean, they're okay. And let's look at where revenues and EPS are expected to go in 27, 28. But it's like, the AI build out is touching more and more and more industries. So maybe the multiple compression is going to come from jacked up DRAM and NAND, whatever that is, prices, but just more widespread demand at a more reasonable cost. So, I mean, look at revenues. I know it's really small. I wish I could blow this. Can I blow? I don't want to mess it up. But like, this is 2 years out. This is going to be fiscal year 22 years out. I guess that would be 27, 28. Look at the ramp job that we just went through in the first quarter of this year. 196 billion to 207 billion, 2 and 3 fiscal years out, coming from 114. And just look at how analysts have had to jack up expected revenues. And then EPS is certainly falling right behind that. I mean, you're really, I don't know. I just don't see how this could be the top with this kind of money being made and this kind of growth being put down. I mean, they're like, Joel, like, what are you going to be looking for in terms of the backlog for this report coming up? I mean, what is going to appease the street? And maybe we like this South Korea sell-off going into earnings. Like, what do you guys think is going to happen with the earnings?
I think the earnings are going to blow it away, but I think that now the expectations are simply too high. People are going to expect that earnings growth that we were confusing the yearly numbers and the quarterly numbers here. So I think the bar actually might be too high this time. We said that, though, for Dell, and Dell continued to go higher. Right. So we've seen a high bar before, and we've seen these stocks resolve higher here. But, just giving perspective here, Micron was $343 in April. We are 2.5 months here later, and the stock is up 300% 2.5 months. As well as I know, Todd, stocks don't go up in a straight line. There's always going to be corrections. There's always going to be pullbacks here. Micron's getting one this morning.
And you know what's funny? This whole sell-off is not about Micron. You know that. I mean, you definitely know that. But this is coming from South Korea.
Yeah. Well, let's talk. We haven't talked that yet. The emerging markets are a mess this morning here. Samsung, EWY down 11%, EEM down 5% here. Emerging markets were the catalyst. So it got kickstarted a little bit last night, and now it's just continued to roll over here. So correct. We are seeing emerging markets having a horrible morning here. And emerging markets have been on fire. EEM hit a new all-time high just yesterday here, and then bam, down 5% in one day.
And what if we put the pictures again? I'm prepping this presentation, so I'm dusting this stuff off even before I send this out to clients. So, but it's like, what if we said emerging markets just broke a 20-year high? And we look at so many client portfolios, people coming in from traditional wirehouses, like, oh, my guys had me diversified for 20 years, and I have a good 35% chunk in emerging markets. And we say to them, well, I'm sorry, that sucks, because that's 35% of opportunity cost that you lost. But now is the time to really consider this. Like, this is a significant EEM breakout. So here's EEM SPY ratio. The last time emerging markets outperformed was right before the GFC, and we're just starting to turn up. So a little breakout happening in EEM, SPY, and it really just all points to Asia. So this is the breakdown of
That's good. I like this.
Okay, cool. What do you like about it?
I like it because you always think of EEM as China. Everybody just
Right.
thinks naturally China. And look, it's only 18% China. And, obviously that's been a lot of performance. EEM used to have a lot more China in it. Just China's massively underperformed everything. So it keeps becoming a smaller part of the index here.
That's a good point. I actually didn't even think about that, because how much more market cap is South Korea put on, and Taiwan is right there.
So much.
So it's like, but everyone's saying, and again, I find myself, with a Fed rate cut on the table now, or rate hike on the table now, dollars looking bid. There's a lot of reasons to say there's rotation in emerging markets, and under that kind of macro environment doesn't work. But dude, all of this is information technology and semiconductors leading the emerging markets. All this is saying is confirming what's happening on American soil. So this is a tech trade in EEM. DRAM, this is a fun ETF. I wrote about it on CBC. I put it in the portfolio in June. It's up like 30 or 40% from June 5th. We're going to give a lot back today, but it's still up. This DRAM ETF is 25% Samsung, 24% SK Hynix, 23% Micron. Like, talk about it like a ripping ETF. And I just here's the charts of SK Hynix and Samsung. You look at, they're up massively in the last year and a half. So to say, and I'll push back, you almost sound like a headline news guy, Dennis. Emerging markets are a mess. Like, dude, context matters. They're up. Like, there's a chart in here. South Korea is up, when I captured this, like 125% on the year. South Korea itself.
It's been unbelievable. The emerging markets fund has been just fabulous here.
So here it is right here. South Korea year to date. I captured this yesterday, up 125%. Taiwan's up 75%. And then Latin America was a mover over the last couple of years. That's cooled off. The best performer, and it's really small to say, I'm sorry, Colombia is right here at 24%. Peru, Mexico. So Latin America had its day for sure the last couple of years, but now it's just all Asia. US, as of yesterday, was up 9.7% year to date. So to what you said is, one is the top under Micron. Look at those earnings. It's bonkers. And two, the sell-off is just a significantly overdone South Korean market, because memory is the biggest chokehold in the AI trade. So basically we had earmarked, I was doubling my tech allocation in the growth portfolio at Inside Edge. I put half of it on about 2 weeks ago. I've got the other half ready to go. Guys, I'm not typically like a pullback buyer. I like to wait for the market to stabilize in order to increase the allocation in a certain group of stocks or whatever. But like, I feel pretty good. If we can get one more little flush lower, the about 8 or 9% that I got earmarked for growth in the tag portfolio, the growth portfolio, I'm just going to buy the pullback. So I think this is absolutely something you could buy on the pullback.
We've seen this move before. We've seen this script before, right? Growth to value. Oh, the value is gonna sneak in here, but misleading this time.
Well, I think the problem is, Joel, it's like the value ETFs are holding, and I have that in here too. I'm all prepped for you guys. Like Micron's the biggest holder in, Micron's the biggest weighting in VTV, Vanguard's flagship value ETF.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So it's like now the value ETFs, because Micron's trading 18 times 2 years earnings or whatever. I have to look it up. It's not expensive. So now the value ETFs are growth ETFs.
Yeah. This is where we are. Like, this is why they rebalance, for reasons like this, because you get these outsized moves in 1 or 2 months, and all of a sudden you're like, boom. What was it that it was the retail ETF? Remember GameStop, Todd? GME went all berserk, and GameStop became like 20% of the XRT, which is supposed to be equally weighted, but it went up so much because it went from $5 like $300 that it became dominant in that index for that quarter, and then they rebalanced it, and then that was gone again. But that's what's why they do the rebalancing, is to keep it all in line there, and they don't do it daily. Most of these funds do it quarterly.
It's there's got to be a way. I was kind of brainstorming my own. There's got to be a way we can come up with our own ETF of true value. Like what's a real assessment of value? It'd have to be a beta under like what 1.1. Revenue and EPS growth can't be above this. It's got to be within this sort of band in terms of realized volatility. Like, for the investor who has their portfolio manager putting them then in value ETFs, they could be seeing a lot more volatility than they signed up for.
It's Berkshire Hathaway. That's your value. There's no volatility. It just sits there. It doesn't go up. It doesn't go down because he's 40% cash. But Greg Abel, now we always say Warren Buffett still, but that's what you're looking for, Todd. Lots less volatility. That volatility on Berk.B, that's low as hell. Look at that thing. It's hardly moved. It's the same spot it was 3 months ago.
Hey, that's why
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Active managers, we need to be here. So, I don't know, man. It's wild in here. So sorry. I
want to go to I want to go to the Fed.
Sure.
And we got our new chairman in last week, Warsh, and he's got his directives for weights. He's forming committees, from what I got from the last conference. But what are Treasury spreads telling us versus the Fed funds? What should we look for in interest rates, and how will it impact the market?
Let me pull this up. What a nice segue. Nice lead in for me, softball, Joel.
Joel's good at throwing softballs.
All right. So what I like to do is watch, obviously they're really pricing in a, let me just get over here. So they're pricing in, let me see here. It's a pretty high probability of a cut in September, or a hike in September. I keep wanting to say cuts. I can't get used to saying a hike. So yesterday, there were 93% chance of a hike in September. And then what I like to look at is I'll do a spread between the Fed funds, which doesn't update all that much, and the 2-year yield. Right. So the 2-year yield kind of pulls the Fed funds rate around. And what you do is I'll take a spread. I'll take the 2-year yield and subtract out the Fed funds. And basically, as this gets up towards, let's call it overbought or resistance, whatever, that means the 2-year yield has rallied sufficiently far from the Fed funds that the Treasury market is really pulling the Fed into a hike up here and then a cut down here. So it's gotten above the zero boundary. I mean, it looks like there's about 45 basis points spread between a 4.2 2-year yield and a 3.75 target Fed funds. So until it starts getting up to 1.5, would you say the Fed is really behind the curve? So I think the call with the new Fed chair, which by the way, he's from like 40 minutes away from here. It's kind of cool. He's from the Albany area.
You go up for drinks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think we
run
run
the inside scoop, Todd. Come on, briefcase indicator right there.
I don't think he hangs out with St. Lawrence grads. He's a Harvard guy. But I think there's a ways to go before a rate hike is certain, even though the Fed fund futures market's really pricing in. Again, the spread is not there so much, I think, to really say we're going to jack up rates, especially with the market kind of acting toppish up here. And then again, like going over to the dollar, like, dollar's pressing the upper end. This is the dollar index. We're getting a little spicy up here. A rallying dollar will be a rate hike in itself. That's more of a restrictive policy. The 10-year yield is up around the resistance around 4.5, 4.6. So we're kind of at this breakout determining zone of macro in terms of, will we have a more hawkish Fed with Warsh coming in? Will that be enough to choke off the massive gains that we've seen in terms of earnings? I think the answer is no. I don't know. I almost think the market is just trying to kind of jockey for position a little bit before we head into hopefully what might be a quiet summer months, and we can sort of take a deep breath for a little while. But
maybe that's what we need. Maybe the market's just doing some sideways consolidation action here. We call it the dog days of August when we get into that. I've obviously still have July here too. But, you know, we got a ways before then, you know, and there's still traders sitting at their desk here and there's traders selling here today. So, you know, maybe the best thing is talk about, you know, the sell-off here today, Todd, just in context. I mean, you get this emerging market sell-off overnight. Obviously, you get a pullback here in the big names like the Microns, Applied Materials, and Qualcomms. It's just another opportunity to buy the dip in the strongest names because it's a hell of a dip this morning.
It's a hell of a dip. It's a hell of a. I mean, but what are we? 2.5%? Where are we? Are we even 3? NASDAQ's down 2.95. So, yeah. I mean, the market's crashed higher since March or April. I mean, if anything, I think if you look at the technicals on the S&P and the NASDAQ index, we're just sideways. I mean, you're starting to trace out maybe a hint of a little head and shoulders reversal. Sure. I don't know. But again, without that dollar, without the rates really jacking higher, I think, you know, we'll see gold. I think gold is also a kind of a support zone, which if broken might look down into the 3,400 area, you know, the $400, $500, $600 lower. You get crypto on the lows. Like the macro market is trying to say that we have a much more restrictive Fed, a much more hawkish Fed, even though, you know, Trump was, I don't know. We'll see if he's happy with the way Wersch is being interpreted in the markets. But I think earnings are ultimately going to support this market. And we're all traders. I'm not like the long only pounding the table bull market forever. Like I love volatility, you know, so, but I think guys, I've seen, this is my one public service announcement. And I hope you don't mind me kind of going off track a little bit, but we look at so many client portfolios for traders, actively managed traders who come in and they're just constantly trying to second guess what's going on. And they're a little bit too consumed with the negative side of the news, costing them, you know, exposure in the market and just hundreds of percent points return, you know, that have been lost because they're sitting in cash or they're waiting for the right time to get in. It's just, it's so important to set aside all these day-to-day, you know, news stories that seem to completely derail the market. But at the end of the day, we're in an uptrend and there's significant money to be made in here. So just all I'm saying is don't fall victim. If you want to have your trading account that's earmarked out 10, 15, 20%, good, but just don't mess around. We are still in a secular bull market. I hope that's okay. And I don't want to take away.
Yeah, no, just one more thing. Just where I just want to ask you about Bitcoin. Where does that fit in your investment thesis here?
You know, I'm out. I don't have any. I actually had a little hedge on in an inverse Ethereum ETF. I think it's ETHD, which is that. So I covered it. You know, we're starting to act a little bottomish. I like watching MicroStrategy or strategy now, whatever. I think we're starting to move in a little bit of double bottom zone. So I think from the macro point of view, with crypto, with Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Ethereum, and gold, if we can hold support and not have the bottom fall out, and those three, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and gold, start to move up, that is going to encourage the U.S. Yields chart to back away from resistance. Maybe the dollar won't break out. So I'd like to see these lows hold for the sake of, you know, having confidence to buy this pullback in the stock market.
Okay, Todd Gordon, Inside Edge Capital, breaking down growth, value, interest rates, gold, emerging markets. Todd, thanks for being a longtime guest on this show and contributing. Everyone getting great comments in the chat here. So we'll be dialing you up again next month. Todd Gordon, Inside Edge Capital.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure. All the best, guys.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay. Tried to rally again, kind of flirting back, coming back toward the lows of the session. But we got to talk about upcoming catalyst. Amazon Prime Days, correct? It's not.
Yeah, bad day for Prime Day, obviously. Market's down. I'm not that scared on the stocks that haven't been participating here this morning. I mean, Amazon's down. Yeah. Meta's down. Yeah. Oh, is this the end of the world? Her Apple's down. I think there's been just, you know, it's been those same stocks that have been going. The Intels of the world, you know, we didn't give any love to Intel earlier. It's been an incredible run for some of these stocks. There's not a bubble in Amazon. There's not a bubble in Google. Yeah. There's not a bubble in Microsoft. There's not a bubble in Apple. So I don't know if they're going higher. I don't know if that necessarily means they're going higher or lower, but I don't think they're crashing here today. Like, I mean, if you're panicking and selling your Amazon today, I'm in Amazon. It's one of the biggest positions in my long-term portfolio. We're not in bubble territory in Amazon here. Does eventually the sell-off spread and it gets into everything? Sometimes that can happen, but I don't think I'm in full panic mode here today, even though, like we're saying, we're calling a top, which I haven't done all year in some of these names. And I think, you're going to see, you've seen the top here in Micron, maybe short term, even with the earnings coming. I think, this isn't going to be an everything sell off here today. I think you're going to see rotation. Berk.B's moving higher. The staples are obviously higher because they've been punished. IBM is holding all of its gains for the most part here. It has leaked a little bit, I guess. But, like Microsoft's up here today. The IGV is up here today. There's going to be some strength here today. And that's where I'm looking to. Is Amazon going to be the stock I'm looking to buy here on the dip? If you didn't have any Amazon, you get down to 225, 220-ish over the course of the next week or two. I think there's a good offering there too. What's this Oracle news?
We do have an Oracle offering.
Gosh.
They just filed it was, what kind of filing was this? I'm looking at the filing here. It is for $20 billion in common stock. It's through B of A, Citi, Deutsche Bank, Goldman, JP Morgan. Yeah, this looks like just a straight up $20 billion offering by Oracle.
They're spending so much money. And this is where the market is starting to get scared. It's the AI spend. Oracle started it all, and they're continuing it, obviously, here. And then we get rumors that Meta's going to do a big spend. They go down. Google, did an offering here. It's weird to see companies of this market cap doing offerings, and especially when they're common stock, because it's dilutive. But they think there's so much growth here. They think there's so much end result here that they don't mind the short-term pain for the long-term gain. Are they going to end up being right? Maybe, but it's scary to see a $20 billion offering here from Oracle here after it's been hit. I mean, Oracle, the gift of all gifts, was at the end of May, and I'm kicking myself because I had this in the long-term portfolio. Basically, me and Joel were made whole when the whole thing went from $190 up to $250. It's given it all back. I mean, again, software names have just been under pressure here. Obviously, IGV has been under pressure as well. It probably would have been an okay day for Oracle here, but they just harpooned themselves again here with this offering. So stocks down significantly here. Traders do not like dilution.
Brentster, we were covering this. I don't know if it was after earnings or whatever. And they basically, when you were reading the fine print, were like, they're doing an offering. It was in the fine print, and it was something that was, that was out there. That's a hefty offering. Trading down, $6.50. So we'll see if that offering is going to be a bargain or not. Want to talk? Do you want to look at our earnings calendar? Besides Micron, we do have some other stocks that are due to report. I don't know if you have that handy here.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Well, Sarah, the big one tonight, and CNBC says it's not Cerebrus, it's Cerebrus. I didn't know that. It's Cerebrus.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Sully was there last night saying, we got the pronunciation of this thing. Cerebrus. So Cerebrus is going to have its first earnings report since it obviously went public here just a couple of months ago. Stock has been in the gutter. Obviously came out IPO day, hit as high as $386, almost been cut in half down to $213. You could say it's got a low bar, but maybe they got some stuff going on. We're going to hear from them tonight. So this is going to be a big one here. It was up a little bit last night ahead of it, but the everything sell-off in tech here is like hammered this, obviously not software, but has hammered a lot of the growth darlings and obviously the Momo names. CBRS is getting dragged down with that too. Could be an okay report for it tonight, though. I kind of think it's going to be a good report.
FedEx also tonight, and KB Homes also tonight. And then where we want to just direct some attention to is in the very middle bottom of this calendar on screen right now. It's to the Qualcomm Investor Day, which the keynote is going to be happening at 2:15 p.m. Eastern time by the company's CEO tomorrow. This is the first time that Qualcomm has done an Investor Day in a couple of days. In a couple of years. Qualcomm usually makes a pretty big deal out of their investor days. They want to draw attention to it. What does that mean? Maybe there's going to be some related press releases that they could issue tomorrow, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tomorrow afternoon. We've been talking Qualcomm for, quite some time. Do you guys got any feel ahead of this event tomorrow afternoon?
No, I've got a piece of it in the long-term portfolio here. I think they're going to say some okay things. I just worry that market sentiment, unless we have a sudden turn here today, that good things being said are going to go not as like this market's not going to be as loving to some of these good things that are being said as it would have been a week ago. So I think sentiment has kind of turned here today. Again, I'm not saying it's the all-time high and it's over. Those earnings, from Micron, when we look at it on Todd Gordon's, breakdown there are unbelievable. So, I mean, it's hard to say that it's AI bubble has burst. I'm a huge believer in AI. I think we're going to go play. AI is going to take us places that we can't even dream of. So for me to bet against that and sell all the stocks in my long-term portfolio, I'm not doing that. But I think, the stocks have been overbought and they're due for a nice correction. And Qualcomm, unfortunately, is probably part of that. Yeah.
And then, those investors' days, they never know what the market environment's going to be, right? They put it together, they plan it, long time in advance. So you can't mess with market dynamics here. Well, here we are. We're at a 9 o'clock hour here. We do have our chief economist, the Stock Trader Network, Blue Putnam, coming on tomorrow. Overall thoughts here. I'm just basing this the S&P. We did take out last week's low. We're sitting on that 50-day moving average, and we know what happened when we hit that 50-day a couple weeks ago. So let's see if we can form some bids above that pre-market low, and got a ways to go to work our back into yesterday's range. Triple D, any closing thoughts?
Always like looking the 9 o'clock news dump. We're going to start trying to carry the show to 9:03 or 9:04 to carry through the 9 o'clock news dump. I don't see anything really going crazy out there. There was a lot of headlines there. Why do we call it the 9 o'clock news dump? I would say, Brentster, that this is the time where you probably, at least in the pre-market, get the most news headlines, where you have bang, press releases come out. There's usually 20 or 30 that come out right at 9 a.m. Sometimes there's some market movers in there if it's from a major company here. I don't see anything like going crazy here this morning, so I don't know if you see something you can cover it here. But
not really, no.
I think we're going to try to make a habit of going to Brentster for the 9 o'clock news dump here, because there's definitely some tradable stuff in here. So if we can carry this show through 9:03 to 9:04, for you guys here on pre-market prep, we're going to try to start doing that for you here. So a little bit of extended coverage for you. Maybe we go to 9:05 on the pre-market prep show here. Like I see Gorilla Technologies, GRR, got a contract there. If you're looking at that thing move this morning off of a 2.5 AI compute contract in Indonesia here. So that was at 9 o'clock. That news just breaking there. But, again, tough day, tough tape. So I think rallies are going to be sold here. I think you will get some rallies here. I think, there's going to be people coming in, but just as much as we were saying on Micron, I don't know, it just fell another $30. So more and more is telling me that was upside capitulation last night, and I think rallies are going to be sold.
All right,
Rustical coming in with the super sticker for a buck. Thank you, Rustical.
Lunch.
There you go, 99 cents.
Slurpee.
Appreciate it. All right, y'all, we're going over to STN. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for watching Pre-Market Prep. Hit like, hit subscribe. Join the STN think tank at stocktradernetwork.com.